This is 9 News.
Good morning, I'm Julie Snook. This is the 9 News Early Edition with our live feed from 9news.com.au, which we'll be updating on your screen throughout the bulletin. We begin in the United States this morning, where at least 4 people have been killed and 5 seriously injured after a small plane crashed into a building in the state of Kansas. Officials say at least 5 others remain unaccounted for. It's believed the plane lost power in one of its engines during takeoff before crashing into the flight safety building at Mid-Continent Airport at around 10 a.m. local time.
It was horrific. There was heavy smoke on the horizon as you approached the airport for miles. A very challenging fire, as you might imagine. It appears the aircraft truck struck the top of the building, catching the building on fire, and would have caused some fire to be inside the building. There were a number of people inside the building at the time. We're trying to determine how many and if they're all accounted for.
Parts of the building have now partially collapsed. We are going to cross live now to our local news reporter from the radio station QANTAS. Ted Woodward is on the ground in Wichita and joins us on the phone now. Ted, very chaotic scenes over there at the moment. Talk us through the situation.
Yes, this was a Beechcraft King Air 200 airplane, just a turboprop. It just about a minute or less after takeoff, it experienced some sort of engine trouble. Witnesses say the plane tipped on its side and was trying to come back and get back on the runway, but it didn't make it. It crashed into a Citation flight safety building on the airport grounds. This is an operation that has a lot of simulators in it for people that are getting certified or recertified for flight training. This is the building it crashed into. The plane, it's a very small building. Most buildings on airport grounds are 1 or 2 stories. That's kind of what this building was. But the plane did directly impact that building. Like you said, it's caused a lot of structural damage to the building, which is causing some trouble for emergency crews who can't get in because some of that building is still very structurally unsound, and that's complicating part of the problem. Is still looking for people. At this moment, they have confirmed 4 people dead, 5 are injured, but those 5 appear to be with non-life-threatening injuries. The trouble now is there are 4 people that are still unaccounted for, maybe 4 or 5. And the worry is that those people might have been inside a flight simulator inside that building at the time of the crash.
OK, Ted, we will leave it there. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Of course, we will keep you updated throughout the morning on that developing situation out of the US. Well, back home now, and Victorian police are investigating after a body was found in a burnt-out car northwest of Melbourne. Officers were called to the scene in Diggers Rest shortly after midnight, where they made the discovery. The body hasn't been formally identified. A teenager has been arrested in Melbourne overnight after a sexual assault in the city's west on Wednesday. The 16-year-old was found by officers at a train station in Tottenham just after midnight. Police released an image of the boy yesterday after a woman walking at Altona was sexually assaulted 2 days ago. Today, reporter Justine Conway will have full details on these developments throughout the Today Show. The Abbott government has finally succeeded in replacing Labor's climate policy with one of its own. After a marathon debate into the early hours of this morning, the plan passed the Senate with the support of the Palmer United Party. It sets up a $2.55 billion emissions fund and offers incentives to companies if they cut their carbon footprint. Nova Peris is under pressure to detail her exact involvement in bringing Olympian Atto Boldon to Australia. She's accused of applying for taxpayer funds for the trip in 2010 in order to pursue a romantic affair with the sprinter. In an emotional charged speech to the Senate, Peris declared she had not done anything wrong. While she didn't deny writing the leaked private emails that sparked the scandals, she revealed a bitter family legal battle is at the heart of it.
The release and publication of these emails in an attempt to extract money and embarrass me and my family.
The Australian Federal Police have confirmed it's investigating the source of the leaked emails. The National Guard has moved in to manage a stream of molten lava creeping dangerously close to homes on Hawaii's Big Island. Nine's US Bureau Chief Robert Penfold joins us now from Pahua. Rob, authorities spoke a short time ago. What was said?
Yeah, good morning, Julie, indeed. And it looks as though the locals have been given a bit of a reprieve at the moment.
For war veterans and their families. Taking a look at the weather around the country now, and we can expect a mostly fine day in Brisbane for a top of 30 degrees. Beautiful and sunny in Sydney and Canberra today. Showers are forecast in Melbourne, Hobart and Adelaide. Some wet weather also around in Perth today for a top of 24 degrees. And storms are expected in Alice Springs, a very hot top of 40. Coming up this morning, a huge payday expected for the ANZ Bank. Why Victoria's Secret is facing a backlash over its sexy new commercial. And when pandas fight back, the zookeeper's losing battle at medicine time.
The truth about shopping. Spending splurges now keep you healthy. Handbags, clothes, everything you want. What you buy and how much you spend reveals how happy you really are. Today on Mornings.
We have some pictures just into the newsroom now, and police are on the hunt for a driver in Sydney's West after a car crashed through the front yard of a property, slamming into a house. Officers were called to the Blacktown home just after 11:30 last night, but the driver had already fled the scene. The elderly residents were at home at the time but managed to escape unharmed. Let's take a look at the front pages this morning now. In Sydney, the Telegraph has Top Silk's ICAC probe. The anti-corruption watchdog labels the investigation into the state's top female prosecutor, Margaret Cunneen, a joke. The Sydney Morning Herald, it was blackmail. Nova Peris opens up about the allegations against her. In Melbourne, the Herald Sun reports a police task force will crack down on crime in the construction industry. And The Age, the AFP is investigating a record number of human trafficking cases in Australia. To Brisbane now, and in the Courier Mail, swarm and destroy. Police will be deployed to protect major financial and mining institutions during the G20 summit. The Australian reports the National Security Committee has found against Australia joining a new China-dominated bank. And in the Adelaide Advertiser, last shout, the head of the Coopers Brewery has hit out at red tape, stopping South Australian businesses moving forward. A reminder of our top stories this morning. At least 4 people have been killed after a small plane crashed into a building at an airport in the US state of Kansas, causing a massive fireball. A 16-year-old has been arrested in Melbourne overnight following the violent sexual assault of a woman in Altona 2 days ago. And Prince Harry has jumped on board a London double-decker bus to mark Poppy Day in support of England's armed services. The ANZ Bank is expected to post a record annual cash profit of almost $7 billion today. Forecasters say the bank's earnings will be up about 11% because of growth in Asia and lower costs in Australia. In contrast, the National Australia Bank yesterday reported a falling cash profit of $5.2 billion. There's growing anger over a new campaign by lingerie giant Victoria's Secret. Critics say the perfect body advertisement sends an unhealthy and damaging message to women.
This morning, an ad for Victoria's Secret undergarments is under fire. Sure, it shows those same famous angels we see on TV all the time. But the problem, many say, with this ad posted on their website, what's written across the bodies of the 10 tall, thin models, the perfect body. Those 3 small but powerful words igniting outrage.
When someone looks at that, their tendency is to measure themselves against that ad.
Victoria's Secret says the word body in the ad refers to the company's Body by Victoria line of lingerie. But college student Gabriella Contorides says it's hard not to catch a double meaning.
They've run some really good and really positive campaigns in the past, and I'm quite surprised to see this coming from them.
Now, Contorides and 2 of her friends have created this petition on change.org, calling on Victoria's Secret to change the wording on their advertisements for their bra range body to something that does not promote unhealthy and unrealistic standards of beauty. Thousands of supporters signed in just 1 week. The 3 women also launching the now viral hashtag #IamPerfect, prompting hundreds of tweets.
We hope that they'll start thinking about their future campaigns and maybe not promote such unrealistic ones in the future.
Victoria's Secret is not commenting at this time, but that perfect body ad is still online and in stores.
Well, giving medicine to children is notoriously hard, as this zookeeper in China discovered. 2 young pandas used all their strength to playfully fight off their breeder, who was trying to feed them medicine instead of bamboo. The cheeky cubs used various tactics to stop him, rolling and climbing on top of the keeper before he eventually gave up. Well, still to come this morning, a controversial day for the Aussies in the second test. Plus, did Paul Gallen receive money from the NRL for his Asada legal fees? And the Gold Coast Suns and Collingwood come to a deal over Rodney Eade. Australia is struggling in the second test in Abu Dhabi, with Pakistan to resume today at 2 for 304, with Yunus Khan unbeaten on 111. And the first day wasn't without controversy.
Desperate to bounce back, the Aussies were willing to try anything.
I've never seen ever in any cricket a fieldsman fielding there. Isn't that quite weird?
That's more to distract the batsman. Nothing else, just to make him a little uncomfortable.
Mitchell Johnson in a very unusual and controversial fielding position.
We tried everything. I think I tried just about everyone for a few overs there, and some unorthodox fields. Yeah, so unfortunately we couldn't manage to take as many wickets as we would have liked.
There was a small glimpse of hope for the Aussies early on.
Edged and gone! The breakthrough from the #1 striker. Mitchell Johnson has done the trick again for Australia.
Coming up after the weather, plus ahead of today, we cross live to Melbourne after the arrest of a teenager wanted over a sexual assault. Live to Saudi Arabia as the Western Sydney Wanderers are one win away in bringing home the Asian Champions League crown. And counting down to the Melbourne Cup Carnival, join Carl and Lisa as they bring you the ultimate guide to the spring racing season. Taking a look at the weather now, and around the country today, a mostly fine day is expected in Brisbane for a top of 30 degrees. Beautiful and sunny in Sydney and Canberra today. Showers are forecast in Melbourne, Hobart and Adelaide with a warm top of 32 degrees. Storms are also expected in the Alice today for a very hot top of 40. Turning to tomorrow, a mostly fine day forecast in Brisbane, a very warm day and showers on the way for Sydney for a top of 33 degrees. Rain and 20 down in Melbourne, and a maximum of 30 is forecast in the Alice. Looking ahead to Sunday now, storms and 31 degrees in Brisbane. A mostly fine day expected in Sydney and Melbourne. Adelaide is also expecting a mostly fine day for a top of 21 degrees. And a sunny day is forecast in Darwin for a top of 33. For the latest on all of our stories, you can visit 9news.com.au on your mobile, tablet or desktop 24 hours a day. That's all from me this morning for 9's early news edition. Now it's time to join Carl and Lisa and the rest of the Today Show team.
Arrested. A man's being questioned by police after a vicious sex attack in Melbourne.
Plane crash tragedy. 2 people die as it smashes into an airport building.
Taking war vets for a ride, why Prince Harry turned tour guide.
Go Wanderers. We're with Western Sydney for their Cup final clash in Saudi Arabia.
Living legends. What Melbourne Cup winners get up to when they retire.
And wherever you're watching the racing, we'll show you how to look $1 million on a budget.
A very good morning to you all across this wonderful country of ours. It is good to have your company. It's Friday the 31st of October. Gee, October went quick, didn't it?
It did, didn't it? Before you know it, it'll be the 1st of November and Derby Day.
Exactly.
Which is tomorrow.
It's a party central here in Melbourne. We have got a terrific show for you too. Nice to see you, Lisa.
I certainly do, and I told you the flowers, the roses would be out. And David Jones has absolutely turned it on for us this morning.
As they always do.
Indeed. Good morning to you, Ben.
Morning. We've got the jockeys, we've got the bookies, we've got the fashion, we've got everything covered this morning.
We sure
Can't
do.
wait.
You have the fashion covered personally,
I've got the fashion covered.
Great.
Red pants are in this year.
Yeah, exactly. And lemon ties.
And lemon-coloured ties.
Boys have got it all sorted. Let's have a look at your Friday weather now. A partly cloudy day in Brisbane, a top of 30 degrees, 29 in Sydney and beautiful sunshine. Mostly sunny in Canberra, a warm one too, 30 your high, 31 in Melbourne with a late shower or two. A few showers in Hobart, 23 degrees there. Evening showers in Adelaide with a top of 32. Morning showers in Perth, 24 your high. And sunny in Darwin, little cooler today. Just 32 degrees.
As I said, a massive show ahead for you, but let's get things started as we always do with Sylvia Jeffries. Hey, Sylvia.
Thank you, Carl. Good morning. We begin with developing news this morning from the United States. 2 people have been killed, another 5 injured after a small plane crashed into an air safety building in the United States. There are reports the plane had engine